The quarantine on the health of our population will be greater or at least equal to the impact of COVID itself. This is really, really important. One of the concepts we talk about in medical ethics is transferred death. This is not a question about whether we want to save lives or not. This is not a two-sided argument where one side gets to say we're saving lives and anyone who disagrees is a selfish, greedy jerk who doesn't care about lives. It's important to look at this. Since we have had this quarantine, I have had a substantial increase in the number of patients who are calling me because they lost their job, they lost their insurance, they can't afford their insulin, they can't afford their asthma medication, they can't afford their seizure medicines. These patients will die because they lost their jobs. On top of that, we're in a situation where people who have asthma are told by the media, you're at a much higher risk of dying of COVID. So we're going to close down the pulmonary clinic and we won't see you. So I, as a family doctor, am seeing people who would usually see their pulmonologist because the pulmonology clinic is shut down. I've also been practicing a lot of dentistry because the dentists are shut down. I'm practicing a lot of psychiatry because the psychiatrists are shut down. We're having an increase in the suicide rate because we shut down the psychiatric hospitals, the outpatient clinics, the intensive outpatients. And the problem we run into is we're transferring death at best from one group to another. We're not asking the question, would you save your neighbor? We're asking the question, would you save your neighbor by throwing your child down a well? Okay? It's not a free choice. People will die of this quarantine, and that's really, really important. If an equal number of people are saved by the quarantine as die from the quarantine, that's not ethical. And that's really an important thing to look at. And what really bothers me as a physician is that we're not talking about this as a society. We're not talking about the cost. An article that was published in the Los Angeles Times this week states that the number of people we are treating for heart attacks and strokes in the United States is down by 30%. Okay? And that's not because they're not having heart attacks, it's because they're not getting treated. And people will die because we're not treating these things. And so the point here is that we have to look at the whole picture. I'm not coming here to say the World Health Organization is bad. I am not coming here to say the CDC is bad. Please listen to me. Please listen to me. Look, I'm not here to say they're bad people. They're trying to do the best they can. But listen, before you judge, let me finish my statement. I'm not here to judge them. These are people who are trying hard. But the problem is that they have too close of a focus. They're looking at too small of a thing. And this is why I want us to be able to talk reasonably about what's going on. The question is not whether or not COVID is bad. COVID is bad, it kills people. The question is your treatment worse? One of the reasons that a family doctor is talking here is, as a family doctor, my job is to coordinate the ideas that are brought up by specialists. Several times in my career, I've had someone who's been diagnosed with a really bad lung cancer called oat cell carcinoma of the lung.